Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. And today we're going to be doing a tier list and I try to get as many shoes as I can. But of course, a tier list, we got 5 tiers. So S tier is this shoe is absolutely amazing. I love this basketball shoe. There's really nothing wrong with it for me personally. Then we got A tier. This shoe is amazing, but there's like one thing that I could be a little bit better, but it's still really nice. B is this is a nice shoe, but there's a couple things that I think it could be better. C is this shoe is not that nice. I don't think it's great. But you know, there are people that might like it. And D, that's like the worst tier is, you know, this just actually let's just change it to nope. Can I do that? Yes, I can. So nope. So this is nope is probably don't get this shoe, right? So if you guys do want to get any of these shoes, I'll try to leave in the free link in the description box. If you do choose to get any of these shoes, it does help me out if you buy it through the free link in the description box. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. And also my socks are available. It's called Young Hone. And if you want a really good all-purpose sock that is really comfortable, like it's a lot more comfortable than a normal sock because it has good padding, but it has a little bit less padding than a basketball sock, which is really nice for just casual use as well because a regular basketball socks, in my personal opinion, has a little bit too much padding for just, you know, going out. So you can work out in it, hoop in it, and you can just wear it casually as well. So link to that will be in the description box too. But yeah, let's get it started right off with the Adidas. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say no, but maybe C. But yeah, I really didn't like this shoe. You know, the Dame Certified 3. The first one was really nice and supposed to be Damian Lillard's like cheaper shoe, his budget shoe. And you know, I was pretty excited about this shoe and it actually looks pretty good, but performance wise it's really bulky, it's heavy, it's very high up off the ground, traction isn't very good, you know, so not my type of shoe. Of course, I definitely feel like, you know, if you want a little bit more of support, a little bit more cushion, then it should be okay, but for me, not that nice, right? All right, next we got the Curry 12. I'll give it a solid A/B. You know what I mean, like an A minus because first of all, the traction's really good. It has one of the hardest stops you can get. Almost stops a little bit too hard when I'm playing on a really clean court, but it does pick up dust. You know what I mean? And also the cushion's not that nice. You know, especially comparing to a lot of the other shoes on his list. I just wish it was, you know, softer, had better impact protection, maybe add a little bit of plushness, you know what I mean? But I do like how lightweight and minimal that shoe is, so solid A tier for me, A minus, right? All right, next we got the Kawaii 4. I really like this shoe. You know, I'm waiting for the Kawaii 5. I feel like the Kawaii 4 has been out for a really long time, right? But yeah, the Kawaii 4, kind of expensive, but it has been on sale. But yeah, the traction's really solid, picks up a little bit of dust, but still really nice. The cushion also is very soft, right? It has a soft, plush feel to it, especially once you get going. And the upper also is not the most supportive, but it's supportive enough. It's soft, you know what I mean? So I really like the Kawaii 4. Next, we got the AE1 Low. I'll give it a solid A tier. For me, I like the regular AE1 better, and the regular AE1 I'll put in S tier, right? So the AE1 Low, first of all, is an independent tongue. So when I play in that shoe, the tongue just moves around. And like if this is my foot and then this is the tongue, it just goes like this. You know what I mean? And I can see my entire foot. So that's kind of annoying. Of course, it's not really performance related, but I always have to fix the tongue, which is annoying. But that's pretty much it. So I guess asterisk AE1 Low to A tier. But if you get the high top, you know, it has the elastic band on both sides of the tongue, which has, you know, it keeps the tongue in place. So the AE1, very nice. The only thing kind of is that it's heavy, you know, but it's a very responsive and supportive shoe. So there is the AE1. The weight flash, I really like this shoe. Very solid, amazing traction. Cushion is also really nice for how low to the ground you are. You have nice underfoot cushion because of the soft mesh strobe board with nice heel compression. But also really good core feel, right? The upper really thin, great airflow, especially now that it's hot. You know, it's really, I'm in a tank top. It's really hot out here, so. Yeah, S tier for me. Donnie Shoe 6, same thing. No. Wait, what? Hello? It won't let me put it in S tier? So yeah, the Donnie Shoe 6, S tier for me personally. The cushion could be a little bit better for underfoot cushion. For me personally, I wish it was just a tiny bit softer, but still nice compression in the heel, amazing traction. The upper's really thin, but also the overall shoe is responsive and really supportive too somehow. And I'm very excited about the Donnie Shoe 7. You know, the 7 is supposed to be like the 6, but with like an extra shroud in it. So we'll see. Maybe it might be a little bit heavier, a little bit stiffer feeling, but I really like the Donnie Shoe 6. And then Dame 9, give it a solid A or a B. I'll give it a B. For me, it's just really thick for the upper, and it's kind of bulky feeling and pretty heavy, and not as good for traction as the AE1 or the Don G6 on dust for me personally. Picks up a little bit more dust, a little bit quicker, The cushion overall is really nice. It's soft, nice compression in the heel, and I really like the inner booty with the neoprene, right? But overall, just not my favorite. It's nice though, right? So there's that. Biospeed BB, I'll give it a solid A. The traction with the polyurethane is really, really nice. I believe it was RPU. And then the cushion, the only thing is that it's kind of high up off the ground. You know what I mean? But overall, it's really nice. It has a nice compression as well. But the underfoot cushion isn't as soft as I would like. And you are high up off the ground, right? But still nice cushion. And then the upper is really, really thin, very good ventilation. It's one of the lightest tube shoes that you can get right now by weight, right? So we got the Biospeed BB, the Equalizer 247, very, very nice. I'll give it a solid A, right? So the only thing that's kind of like a minor to me is that it's bottom heavy. And it's a little bit bulky feeling because of that overall midsole, right? The midsole is a little bit chunky feeling, but other than that, very, very nice shoe. And also it's a little bit higher up off the ground. And I don't really like that as much for me personally too. But yeah, traction's very nice. Cushion's really soft as well. The upper, great quality. It's super comfortable once you break it in too. So yeah, there is the 247. Next, we got the AG5. I'll give it a solid... I don't know. I'll give it a solid B. I mean, it's really nice. But for me personally, and what I want, and comparing it to like with S tier, it's just like the traction is really solid, but it does pick up a little bit of dust. The cushion also is really nice, but it is very, very high up off the ground. Not super high up off the ground. I would say it's around the 247, right? And then the upper is a little bit stiffer than I would like to, but of course it's for Aaron Gordon, and it should be a lot more supportive. So for me, because of those reasons, I could put it down just a tiny bit, but still very, very solid, and I still enjoy playing that shoe. Next, we got the D-Low 1. I just recently got this, and I'm still testing it out, but I played it in a couple times, and it's very, very nice. Right now, I gave it a solid A. I'm not sure about S yet because the traction is a little bit iffy, but still very, very solid traction. But it's not top tier right now, right? And then the cushion also is really nice. I love how low to the ground you are, but you have the full length boom and the Light Foam Ultra, and it has nice compression, really nice underfoot cushion, but it's like really subtle, comparing to like some of the softer cushioning setups. So D-Low 1, very, very nice. Very minimal and lightweight as well. All right, next we got the AE1 Low. This is the retro, or I guess like the performance retro, like the Protro kind of, because they upgraded the cushion. But anyways, I actually really, really like this shoe. Very underrated, I would say. So the traction is so good. It has an amazing bite. Also, the cushion's really nice. There's a really nice kind of like bounce in the heel. Nice compression. Underfoot cushion isn't as soft, but it's still pretty soft. The upper, however, is a little bit too stiff for me. You know what I mean? Personally, I like a softer material, kind of like the Curry 12s or D-Low 1, But if you would like a supportive, stiffer feel, very, very nice, right? Also, the overall shoe is super supportive. So yeah, AE1 Low, very, very nice. 8085 Ultra, you guys already know. S tier for me. There we go. So yeah, the traction, amazing. You have great stops, picks up very minimal dust, and I love the cushioning setup with the drop-in super boom midsole, right? It has a lot of bounce, and it kind of reminds me of like the old school Zoom units, but it's a little bit mushier feeling than that. It's just softer, because your foot is right on top of the foam. The upper is really thin, support's great. So 8085 Ultra, I really like that shoe. You guys already know with the Player 1 Plus as well. Why is it so janky here, right? But yeah, Player 1 Plus, amazing traction. Cushion, also really like it because you can customize it to your liking, right? So, and also you can buy their drop-in midsoles separately as well if you want to customize your shoe even more. The upper is really thin, support's great. So there's that. Kobe 8 Protro. I give it a solid S, solid A tier, you know what I mean? It is a little bit, actually a good amount heavier than the original, but it does have better cushion with the React drop-in. The traction's really nice and solid, but it's not like the hardest stop, but you still have a very solid bite. And I mean, I really like the Kobe 8 Protro, so I give it a solid S, like A tier, right? Also, day 13, I gave it a solid S tier. Amazing traction, like one of the best tractions you can get. Cushion also is a lot stiffer. I'd say it's around like the D-Low 1, maybe a little bit stiffer, a little bit more responsive feeling if you like that. But still really nice for the cushion because it has full length boom. Impact protection is nice. And also once you get going, it does get kind of soft and very, it has a subtle softness, right? The upper also, it feels really supportive, right? And also feels like it'll last a really long time with the Vajra skin upper, but still really like soft. It conforms to your foot really well, but still has nice support, right? So there's that. Next, we got the Big 3 6.0. I give it a solid B. You know, the kind of a little bit of a disappointment from the Big 3 5.0 Quick Pro, which was one of my favorite hoop shoes of last year. The 6.0, two problems for me. First, the traction, the dust performance wasn't the best. It picks up dust like a lot, and also the toe box is a little bit roomy, and my foot was moving around inside of the shoe. So because of those reasons, not my favorite, but overall very solid shoe. Especially the cushion is really nice for the price, right? All right, the Li-Ning 5 for me, easy S tier, amazing shoe. I love just how it feels like an extension of my foot, where it just feels like I have nothing on, but it has really nice cushion. Like it's just bouncy, and it's really comfortable. For the heel compression as well, and then the traction is really good. The upper is so thin, but the overall shoe is supportive as well. So Li-Ning 5, super duper nice. Curry Fox 1, I mean, any shoe with flow is pretty much like an A, you know what I mean? And they all feel really similar, you know? So same thing as the Curry 12, right? Ultralight 2025, so I give it a solid A, you know what I mean? It's not the best for impact protection though. Like if you're doing hard impacts, your feet are gonna hurt because the cushion is really soft, right? However, the traction's really nice, and it is the lightest hoop shoe that you can get right now. I guess besides the Gamma 1, but I haven't tried those. So anyways, yeah, super lightweight, adequate for support. So yeah, solid A tier for me. The Team Joker, I'd say borderline S tier to A tier. It has solid traction, minimal dust pickup, and the cushion is super duper nice, especially for the price, right? You got that soft mesh strobe board as well, so it has a softer underfoot feel comparing it to, you know, like the All City 13, you know what I mean? And also the Dilo 1, and it has a very like supportive, stiffer feel than the regular Joker one, which is right over here, but still really nice. I guess the regular Joker one, I give it a solid A tier because it does pick up dust, you know what I mean, for the traction. So I give it a solid A tier, but the Joker 1 GT, however, is easy S tier for me. Where is it? Oh, it's right over here. So it does have better traction. It picks up way less dust than the regular Joker 1. Has slightly better cushion because it is using a different foam, and it's a little bit softer, a little bit bouncier. But overall, it's just pretty much the same exact shoe besides that. Which, you know, because of those improvements, it does bump it up into S tier. It's one of my favorite hoop shoes of this year, the Joker 1 GT, right? So next, we got the Harden Volume 9. I give it a solid B/A tier. I give it a B to me personally, because it is a little bit heavy. It is a little bit bulky. Not a little bit, it's actually pretty heavy. It is kind of bulky feeling as well, comparing to like, you know, like the Currys, you know? Especially if you want like a really lightweight feel. Also, the traction for me with the translucent rubber picks up a lot of dust. I was slipping around a good amount. The cushion's super nice though, and overall it is a nice shoe. However, in my personal opinion, there are better options out there for me and my playstyle. So yeah, there is the Hardens. Next, we got the Jordan Air series, I believe it was. Not a huge fan of this. You know, I give it a solid C. You know, traction was okay. It wasn't amazing and it wasn't terrible, but it was okay. The cushion was not that nice, right? If you want good core feel though, that shoe has amazing core feel, but yeah, not the best for impact protection, of course. And it's a really flat shoe too, and it felt like a slapper to me, and the upper material quality isn't the best with the mesh material, you know, so not a huge fan of that, right? All right, next we got the Easy One. I give it a solid S tier. I love this shoe. I put the explosive drop-in midsole exclusively. I like the explosive drop-in midsole. It has a lot of bounce, compression, it's soft. The traction with the polyurethane resin is amazing. It has amazing stops, very minimal dust pickup. Cushion, like I said, is nice. The upper also is pretty dang nice with the canvas material. It's supportive. It's overall pretty thin. So for me, I give it a solid S tier. GT Cut 3, I give it a solid S/A. You know what I mean? And then same thing with the GT Cut 3 Turbo. And then next we got the Zap 2. The Zap 2, I give it a solid A. The cushion could be a little bit better for impact protection, and the traction could be a little bit better, but other than that, very nice. The upper is really thin too. Next we got the DVD 3. This is the SE. I haven't tried the SE. I'm sorry I got the wrong picture, but I give it a solid A. You know, the traction is nice, but picks up a little bit of dust. The cushion is a huge disappointment to me comparing to the DVD 2 SE, but still, it's stiff. You know, I wasn't a huge fan of the cushion. And then the upper, it's okay. You know, it's a stiffer, kind of like synthetic material. Not a huge fan. All right, we got the Shadow 6 V2, which I really like. Solid shoe. Nice cushioning setup overall. Very good price. The traction also is really solid. And then the upper is really thin and has amazing ventilation, especially for summer. The A1, I've been playing in this shoe. It's been so freaking nice. I love the way it looks as well. But for performance as well, the traction is really freaking good. Picks up very minimal dust for me so far. The cushion is also like really subtle. It's 100. Okay, by the way, Nike, they increased the price for all of their hoop shoes by $5. Like, why, Nike? Like, come on, you know what I mean? But it used to be 110, now it's 115 bucks. But anyways, the upper is really supportive, but once you break it in, it gets like soft, but still really supportive feeling. And also, like, it's a lightweight shoe. It's pretty minimal, but responsive, right? So there's that. Scoot Zeros, I gave it a solid A. You know what I mean? The shoe is put together really well. The traction is solid, the cushion solid. You know, like none of the different categories of that shoe is amazing, but it just does everything well and doesn't do anything terribly or badly, you know. So because of that, it's just a solid shoe for the price. I believe it was $100. So really nice overall solid shoe, right? All right, the JB3, I gave it a solid S, right? The only thing is just that it stops really freaking hard, so it did hurt my knees, but I guess that's a good thing if you want amazing traction. Just be careful with that because it did hurt my feet and stuff. But anyways, the cushion also is bouncy. The upper is supportive, but it conforms to your foot very well. So yeah, the JB3, very nice. The WOW 11, give it a solid A. The only thing is it feels a little bulky, it feels a little bit heavy, you know what I mean? But traction is really solid. The cushion is really nice as well, especially with the soft mesh strobe board. It's soft underfoot, has a nice bounce, has amazing support, right? Next, we got the Book One. I give it a solid A, you know what I mean? So the solid rubber outsole that I have has really nice traction. The cushion, however, is not that nice. You know what I mean? I definitely feel like the forefoot cushion is not great, you know. The upper choice, you know, there are different types of uppers for different colorways, but overall it is pretty nice. So Book One, very nice. It's just the cushion could be better, right? All right, we got the MB4. It's a nope. I really did not like playing in this shoe. Just for me, you know, it's bulky, it's heavy, it's high up off the ground. The traction isn't the best on dust, you know. So yeah, I didn't like it, right? All right, next we got the Jimmy Buckets. I gave it a solid B. You know, the traction just wasn't great. You know, it picked up a little bit of dust. The cushion also, I feel like could have been better, especially comparing to the JB3. You know, it's not bad, but for the price and also comparing it to the signature shoe, it's not amazing, right? It's a nice looking shoe and solid, but you know, I definitely feel like it's not A tier or S tier, right? Tatum 3, nope. I really don't like that shoe. Traction was not good, picks up dust. Cushion also was not good. It hurt my feet a lot. Not only on like crazy impacts, but like even on just like moderate landings, it did hurt my foot. The upper is so soft, that which I like, but it just wasn't super supportive, you know? So yeah, not my favorite. Next, we got the LeBron 22. I give it a solid like A/B. I'll put it in B, but I don't know. Like, so when I was playing on a clean court, I definitely put it in A tier, right? But it does pick up dust, so that sucks. The cushion is very nice though. You got the Zoom Turbo. It's bouncy in the forefoot. You got a nice heel cushion. It's really supportive and like kind of like cozy feeling. It's not the most minimal feeling shoe, but it's not bulky either. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just a dust performance that wasn't the best, and some other things. So put it in B tier. I feel like. All right, 2AV5. I put it in solid A tier. You know what I mean? It does pick up a little bit of dust, but other than that. The cushion's super duper nice, especially for the price. It's soft. It's a little bit higher up off the ground, however, and the upper is super nice. It's thin. The quality is great. So yeah, I feel like solid A tier. AE1 Select, I'd say a no for me. You know what I mean? So the traction with the translucent rubber just was not great on dust. The cushion was pretty nice, but also I do like the material, like that's you know, it has good ventilation. However, the fit was just so bad for me, and my foot was moving inside of the shoe a lot, and I couldn't really play in the shoe too well. You know what I mean? So yeah, there is the AE1 Select 3.0 Jordan 39. Same thing. When I was playing on a clean court, it was really nice, but you know, it just picks up so much dust, and if it does pick up dust, it's just a really dangerous slide out for me. And the cushion's super soft and comfortable. However, it felt a little unstable. So yeah, I give it a solid C tier for me personally. The GT Jump Academy, surprisingly, is actually pretty dang nice. You know, it's I believe it was like $90, right? But really nice traction. It does pick up dust though. right? And it is a little bit dangerous, but it wasn't terrible. And the cushion for the price is not bad. Maybe I put it in B tier because, you know, it's not amazing, I would say. I would say it's an A tier if you're taking into account the price, right? Because it's so cheap and you're getting really good performance for the price. But if you're comparing to all the other shoes, just for purely performance, then it's not the best. You know what I mean? So I give it a solid B plus. You know. All right, AE1 Low V2, I give it a solid A tier. The cushion could be a little bit better, and also the traction could be a little bit better because it's nice, but impact protection isn't the best on hard impacts, and also it picks up a little bit of dust. But other than that, it's very, very solid shoe and really good price, right? All right, next we got the GT Cut Academy. I give it a solid S minus. You know, the only thing is that, you know, the cushion could be a lot better. I mean, if you're looking for like a responsive, kind of like stiffer feel, then you'll like it. But if you want something soft, you know, comfortable, bouncy or whatever, you're not gonna get it. But, you know, it's a cheap shoe, right? So I give it A plus, right? S minus or whatever. And traction is really nice. Support's great. The upper is thin and all that. The Freak 6, I give it a solid A. Pretty much the same as the GT Cut Academy, but not as nice for the traction. It does pick up a little bit more dust. So yeah, I give the Freak 6 like a solid A plus, right? The Jaw 2, I give it a solid A minus because the cushion just isn't the best. But other than that, it's a really nice kind of like lightweight guard shoe if you like that, right? Just I think the cushion could be better in my personal opinion. The Immortality 4, you know, I give it a solid B. I feel like it does everything really well, like the Scoot Zeros, but just not as nicely. You know what I mean? Also, the fit was so freaking tight for me. So because of those reasons, I put in B tier. Next, we got the Next Genesis. I give it a solid A tier. You know what I mean? It does pick up a lot less dust than LeBron 22. The cushion isn't as nice, but kind of similar. I just don't like how high up like on the ankle it goes. You know what I mean? But just for me personally, it feels a little bit more like a boot to me. You know, compared to LeBron 22, but has better traction. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it like A minus slash B tier. It's not amazing, but it's a solid shoe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying like for me personally, in my personal opinion, in what I like in hoop shoes. You know what I mean? But I guess like objectively, it is a nice shoe. You know what I mean? So there's that. AR2, easy S tier, amazing cushion, amazing price for $100. Traction is really nice. It's a lightweight shoe, you know, and the upper is really thin and minimal. But the support's great, you know. So yeah, easy S tier. Luca 4, I give it a solid A. You know what I mean? The cushion's really nice for how low to the ground you are. Impact protection isn't the best, but not terrible. The traction is solid as well, but it does pick up a little bit of dust. And it's really freaking lightweight. So I really like that shoe. Luca 77, I give it a solid B slash A. You know what I mean? It's a little bit higher up off the ground than I would like, but still not bad. And, you know, it's just a cheaper feeling shoe. You know what I mean? Because of that, put it down a little bit. Next, we got the 360. I give it a solid B. You know, the traction just picks up a lot of dust for me. And the cushion's nice though. Cushion's pretty nice with the pods, but you know, it's not amazing. So the only reason is just that it picks up a lot of dust. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm playing on like a really dirty court. So because of that, I'll give it a B. You know, like A minus, B plus, but B, I feel like would be good. All right, Zion 4, I give it a solid B as well. I do love the cushion, but the traction could be a little bit better. And it just fits my foot. Like, it's just a really narrow fit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, solid B tier for me. All right, next we got the KD 18. I give it a A minus slash B. I mean, the cushion's nice in the heel, but could be a little bit better. You know, I wish they gave better forefoot cushion. The traction also is really nice, but it does pick up a little bit of dust. But not terrible. It's solid, right? The upper is definitely a huge improvement from the KD 17, but still not amazing for the quality. So I give it a solid A tier. You know, GT Hustle 3, for me, I give it a solid C. You know, it's just too much cushion, high up off the ground. Traction was okay, you know. It's solid, but not amazing. So yeah, because of that, C. If you want a lot of cushion though, I feel like you'll like it. But for me, solid C, right? KT10, solid A tier, you know, maybe A plus. It's just the traction for me. I had this exact colorway. It was translucent, and even after I broke it in, it did pick up a good amount of dust. And if I didn't wipe, I would just slide out dangerously. So because of that, solid A tier. And the cushion's nice though. It has a really kind of like stiffer feel compared to like the Kai 2, but it has still a like nice step in comfort, you know, with the full-length N2 foam and soft mesh strobo board. So solid A tier. Sabrina 2, you guys already know, S, right? BP, yeah, no. I give it a solid C. It's not terrible, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. It's kind of bulky. It's kind of heavy, you know. Traction was solid, but not amazing. Cushion, again, you know, I do like the price, though. It's cheap. It's 90 bucks, I believe it was. 80, 90 bucks. But it does feel like a cheap shoe, you know. So, yeah, solid C tier. Kawaii speed, I give it a solid A+/S. You know, very, very nice shoe. I do like the cushion and the traction combo, especially with the outsole curvature. It does pick up a little bit of dust. And it wasn't terrible for dust pickup, but it was kind of like the Jordan 39, where, you know, if I let too much dust build up, it is a little bit dangerous, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm bumping it down a little bit, but it's still nice. And the Kawaii 2, solid S tier. I really like the Kawaii 2. Amazing cushion, amazing traction. It's lightweight, supportive, it feels minimal, you know. So anyways, that about concludes this video. I feel like I got most of the shoes, you know what I mean, that you can still get, you know what I mean. So yeah, of course, this is just my tier list, and if you disagree, that's fine, that's completely fine. And tell us what your list would be as far as, like, you know, S tier, maybe nope tier. You know what I mean, your favorite and your least favorite hoop shoes for the past like year. But again, links will be in the description box. But that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.